This joystick's good, huh? Hi, I'm Andrew Armstrong and welcome to the Back Office Teardown Lab. You know I'm no stranger to making my own controllers, and you also know I'm no stranger to playing with Raspberry Pis and making things. So today I wanted to set about making something I wanted to make for ages, and that is a Space Harrier. A Space Harrier type setup. You know, I'm not going to be able to ever own a Space Harrier cab, I think. Not enough room in my house, frankly. I used to have an old motorbike cab that apparently was converted from Space Harrier. So when they used to get bored of Space Harrier, they'd convert it into this sort of weird motorbike thing. I was recently given this joystick by my friend Tim, and it's massive. You can see it's really quite tall, even it's that close to the camera, isn't it, when it's sit up. But it's basically, I think, some sort of training simulator type flight stick. Apparently it's one that the TRON machines were moulded from, allegedly. And it's got basically leaf springs at the bottom, so you can see there's a leaf spring type switching. It's got 3 buttons, 1, 2, 3. So I thought that'd make a great Space Harrier joystick, or even just flight sim thing. I'll probably play with it just sort of as a crude flight sim for maybe Afterburner, something like that. I've got some of these SNES USB controllers that I use for a lot of projects, and one of these is damaged. I know my kids yanked the wire, so I have to repair one anyway, so I'm going to open one and sacrifice that to the building gods. What you'll notice though, there's plenty of buttons on here. So you've got up, down, left, right, and then you've got the 3 buttons, say, for the joystick, but then that leaves you with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other configurable joystick buttons that you can use in Windows. And we'll dismantle our donor controller. We know, of course, we're going to kind of lose this. Now, I don't throw away these shells when I do these jobs. What I do is I turn these into groovy laser pointers, and I think I might have done a video on that. It's hard to tell, there are so many. But if you're ever doing a project like this, these SNES control things are so cheap, you can just buy them instead of joystick interfaces. They cost like less. But say, don't throw away the shell. They're kind of nice. Make them into something else, just ornamental. If you're doing something with them, you want to sort of not work on that project immediately, but save it for another time. To show you, this one kind of looks alright. It doesn't look like the USB wires were torn. Anyway, we'll put this aside. What to do is get something like some tissue paper, like that, and just sort of fold it up in there and just keep it in there when you put the old shell back together, and that'll just keep all the buttons in there for you nicely for when you get round to doing something creative with it. So I've had a brainwave. I found this project box which looked handy, found this ribbon cable which looked amazing, and I found this piece of paper on which I wrote a plan. So my plan is to go to the 3 different sections of the joystick. So we've got one section to do with up, down, left, right, because that's at the base, and that's got its own ground. And then we're going to go for the 3 buttons and their own ground. So that's the 3 buttons on the joystick. And then all the rest are going to go elsewhere, and then we're going to hopefully hook those up to those tack switches we've got. So first things first is to tin, of course, our ribbon cable. And ribbon cable's a bit fussy. It's obviously designed to be used with connectors that sort of clamp onto it and crimp onto it. So it doesn't really like to be soldered, but you can. I'm probably not going to twist the ends of the wire because they're, again, a bit tiny, a bit fussy, and I think we don't really need to, but I'm just going to use this to actually just straighten them. I want them straight, so when I just put a bit of solder on them, each one now, they should just take it well. Of course, if you want to do it a bit more, consistently, safely, you can get a Stanley knife and split all of these first and then tin them split. But I'm going to have a go tinning them all together. That does run the risk, of course, that they're all going to join into one, but I think I'll get away with it. Yeah, it's okay. Now remember, the insulation doesn't like heat, so don't dilly-dally. Didn't take too long, did it? Not at all. Just one bridge there, look, one bridge. Come on. That's it. So with your suitable blade, and I think I've destroyed my last blade. Curses! Curse you, back office. or just use your nails, whichever's more convenient to you. Just split all those wires out, and we know that they're going to need to be loads of different lengths, because look at this PCB, it's actually, and I'm trying to fit it into this box, so we're going to have a bit of a drastic thing to do there. But yeah, I'm not going to be worried too much about the lengths, because there's a lot of messing around is going to be required to get this in there. But yeah, I'm going to split that up, and I'm going to study. I think what I'll do is I'll split that up off camera. There's no need to see me doing that. Let's have a little study of this while we're here. Clearly we can get that much in the box, but what we just have to make sure is that all these other connectors, which basically are all these bits of tracking here, we're going to have to be able to not damage. So I'm going to have to saw through a chunk. So if I need to fit this in, you've got that crystal too. If I need to fit this in the box, which I'm insisting I do, I'm just trying to see if there's any way of preserving one end or the other. It doesn't make sense to try to keep too much of it. Just go straight for the middle, really. I'm going to cut it there, get it in the box. Let me work on that. I'll get back to you. The horror. Cool, look at that sexy fit, huh? That's awesome. Why can't you buy them just like that, ready to go? Gotta start selling these. It took a few minutes, but there it is. That's the ribbon cable soldered into this spec right in there. It looks like a bit of a mess, but don't worry about that. Once I confirm it's all working, I'll basically clip this all together and put a bunch of resin in here and clip the lid on, and that's it. Solid state converter. It's time to box this up. I had a little bit of argy-bargy actually. It turns out somehow the crystal had died on it, and I'd sort of replaced the USB wire, messed around with it, but no, it was the crystal. So fortunately I had a 6 megahertz crystal in one of the other units. I do have more of these. So was a relatively simple swap. So I'm just going to pop it all back together now. Just going to have a look to see what's the best way though of doing strain relief for the ribbon cable. You don't really want that getting tugged out. I might just do it the same way by using cable tie as I'm going to use for the USB end. So try to sort of turn that into a cable by twisting it around. Yeah, that's quite cable-like, but we've just got to be careful not to damage it really when we're cranking on this cable tie. So I'm just going to fold it over. Once it's all sort of working, someone said once it's all working, I'm going to put some resin, I think, on all of these, and then that'll be that. It's not going to go anywhere after that. So hopefully I have not broken anything in there. So that's one bit of ribbon. And we're going to do the USB. So I replace the USB cable, so I need to put another cable tie on it. I think about, that'll be fine there. Hope the lid pops on now. Let's have a look. It certainly does. Job's a good one. So all I need to do now is really start the assembling process. So we'll keep our USB wire out of the way. We've got our ribbon cable. We know where pin 1 is, so everything's going to be referenced for that. So it's really just a case now of actually the sort of physical assembling of all the parts. So I've got the joystick here, I've got the piece of wood that it's going to go to, and I've got all of the buttons. So really I'm just going to do point-to-point soldering on everything. I'm going to save you the burden of watching me do that. I'll just do that off the camera. Yeah, I don't think there's anything tricky about it. Just I know some of you don't like me skipping stuff, but I'm just going to be really soldering onto these, and just so you know, there'll be common ground. So you see these double leaves here, they sort of terminate to this tang. I'm just going to go around all the outside. There'll all be a ground, and then the up, down, left, right will be hooked up as appropriate. I'll show you that. I'll show you that in a minute. I think I'm done for now. Just to show you, I've wired it all up. and marked left, right, up, down, and then attached the appropriate bits of the ribbon cable according to my diagram. I haven't done any of the select start X left shoulder, right shoulder buttons because one, I realised I'm going to plug this into a PC and I don't need those right now, and two, I'm not really happy with the tack switches. I don't think they're worthwhile. If you're going to do it, it's nice to put some proper arcade buttons or proper switches and get them done. So I don't need those for PC, so I'm just going to hook them up as is now. Just going to work out a way of lashing this ribbon cable to it, and we'll put it on the PC. Let's have a look-see. So the fruits of my labour, joystick is bolted nicely, and you can see I've used a G-clamp to clamp that piece of wood to the desk, and it's really solid. You can see you can just lift the desk up. Got my interface here, and that's hooked up straight to the USB, and I'm running MAME here, and I've just installed MAME, and I've put a Space Harrier on it. Space Harrier ROM. You know, I don't know. Be a bit careful with the old legalities of ROMs and stuff. I don't go nuts with it. I'm just using it to check out the game, and it actually works. It works really well. It's really convincing.
Get ready.
Curse you, Space Harrier!
Get ready.
With my hands to jump. No, you can't jump. You can't jump. Use this to jump.
Get ready.
As you can see, another satisfied customer. Oh, I've just been playing loads of Space Harrier. Afterburner was probably a little bit trickier because I probably should have added the extra buttons because you need it for the actual Afterburner. Space Harrier is awesome. It's actually the first time ever that I've played it right through, got to the end. I know I used up loads of credits, you can cheat, but there's something magical about playing a game that you haven't really seen since you were a child, like a small child, like 5, and then actually finishing it when you're almost 40. I have to say this stick is really, really necessary. It just totally changed the gameplay. It just transformed it. Brilliant build. Really happy with it. Happy with the interface thing here. Happy with the joystick. Happy with the bracket. Happy with the G-clamp setup. I mean, that's genius. It all works really well. So yeah, try it. If you can find old joysticks, things like that, even and retask them from other purposes, just get hold of them. Buy those Nintendo SNES pad things and adapt them. Buy old PlayStation to PC USB things, adapt them if you need analog. You've got all sorts of options. I'd really like to take the time now also to thank my Patreons. I really I'm so happy that you guys are there, happy to be able to share content with you, exclusive content, and really happy to be putting your donations, I think they're called, pledges, to good use on projects like this. Hope that's of some use to you. Please like, subscribe and share, and as ever, thanks for watching.